held here has resolved that all our programs would be conducted in a client-orientated manner that is informed by the client satisfaction-led crime detection programs. Our gathering intended resolutions that will address the challenges in resolving cases and putting behind bars those who terrorize our communities. It cannot be that we continue to have excessive amounts of cases which are not finalized, particularly if this is due to our own shortcomings. It cannot be that we neglect communicating with our clients on what has transpired with their cases. Proper engagements with our communities regarding their cases and complaints would build trust and strong relationship with them as core partners in crime-fighting initiatives. We are therefore before the nation this afternoon to reflect and give account of the journey we have traversed over the past 3 years. We are indeed reaffirming our commitment to serve the people of South Africa better as we emerge here with a sense of optimism in that these tasks with carrying out the resolutions will indeed do so. The Crime Detection Conference reaffirms the SAPS 5-year strategic plan, the South African Police Service turnaround vision, as well as the 6-point plan of the Minister, which talks to crimes against women and children, gang violence, taxi violence, kidnappings, political killings, and stock theft. The conference has, amongst others, reaffirmed the OCTA strategy, which is the organized crime threat analysis, the unconventional policing, root cause analysis and modus operandi, cybercrime strategy, recruitment, re-enlistment, and retention strategy. We will seek to re-enlist former members to enhance the capacity and capabilities of the crime detection environment. The conference had undertook to resolve that the detective service should have standards for an ideal investigating officer, group commander, and section commander, with similar standards for crime intelligence and forensic services, also in the interest of enhancing the image of crime detection, including the corporate image and value system and address code within the framework of SAPS. The Uniform Inquiry and Investigation Units be re-established as we seek to alleviate the burden of detectives carrying too many dockets. Capacitate the environment to meet service delivery demands, taking into account the ratio between VISPOL and detective services. Strengthen informer network capacity with the aim to improve the current performance for crime detection. Tracking units should resort under the division detective services, which is crime detection, to optimize the tracking of wanted suspects. Currently, these units are placed within the operation and response service environment. We have noted that there are challenges with regard to provision of feedback to complainants. Therefore, we have identified a need to develop a national instruction on providing feedback to complainants. The conference has further resolved that adopt strict compliance and to set guidelines thereof as the implementation of consequence management pertaining to non-compliance. Governance should be revisited and retraining of members should be considered to enhance procedures to revive important and of, among others, the critical need to oppose bail. There's a need for the alignment of registers in the management and submission of the result trial between the detectives, the local criminal record and the local criminal record centers. Therefore, integration of the court results with CRIM, CAS, and ICD and ICDMS. Electronic submission of fingerprints, which talks to ABs and automated biometric identification system. We have resolved to develop an internal strategic marketing plan for indicating crime intelligence tools and services to enhance crime detection. We have also identified a need to capacitate and enhance the Detective Service Center capability by ensuring that there will be a minimum number of non-commissioned officers and commissioned officers per relief be adopted and implemented at brigadier stations and at colonel stations for now. We have also resolved that a crime detection academy be established. We have resolved that cold case teams should be established in all provinces and resort under the provincial investigation units. This is under the cold case strategy. We have noted a risk with regard to providing timelines for the investigation of case dockets. Therefore, the conference resolved that the following timelines be set. The first one is the 72 hours to complete compulsory investigation with a competent team attached to the Detective Service Center. All serious and violent cases, crime scenes to be visited by senior officers. Strict adherence to investigation timelines on serious crimes. Ladies and gentlemen, we have also taken a number of operational resolutions which I would imagine you will appreciate that we are unable to disclose at this stage. We've also engaged a number of stakeholders, some of which we have resolved to enter into memoranda of understanding for better coordination. Currently, we have developed a good working relationship with stakeholders such as SABC, Consumer Goods Council of South Africa, etc. But we seek to enhance this relationship as we engage other stakeholders that can make a valuable contribution to our efforts in the fight against crime. We also have excellent working relationships with our neighboring countries as we continue to combat the cross-border crimes. Ladies and gentlemen, as we leave this venue, let us do so remembering the fact that we have the privilege to serve and improve the lives of those who are vulnerable, law-abiding citizens who are loyal to our constitutional democracy. They are crying out for our help and have a constitutional obligation to them to make South Africa a safer country to live in. We have a responsibility to demonstrate, indeed, our commitment to a safer nation. I thank you.
Thank you very much, General. I'll afford an opportunity for questions. So if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to. The statement will also be made available electronically. Are we good, General?
General, good afternoon to everyone. It's Patricia here from the SABC. Just on the Crime Detection Academy that you have resolved to, of course, embark on. Apologies for that. You can maybe give us a little bit more detail. How exactly will this work and so forth, if you have that information already? I'm sure you must have brainstormed already in terms of what exactly the blueprint will be and what is it replacing?
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thanks very much. I think presently the challenge that we are facing is the advancement of modus operandi by criminals. One of the examples, it's where our investigators are expected to investigate a crime while the crime scene is in space. We are only used to attend to geographical crime scenes. So criminals have resorted to a large extent to cyber. And we also have challenges where crime is committed through deep web transactions. And our investigators are expected to investigate such cases. Then we also do not intend to just train people in terms of short courses in crime detection, but we want to invest in crime detection. We want to have short, medium, and long-term training, which is a then long-term investment. But what has then become a wake-up call to us is that when criminals bring in a new modus operandi, our training standards get immediately outdated, and we are no longer able to respond. Now, this particular academy will also conduct what we call continuous and sustainable HRD curriculum research, which will be informed by modus operandi and the future demand for investigation. So that's the rationale behind the academy. It's not only for crime detection investigators, but it's for all the investigation families, which would include the PCI and other parties to the investigation. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's me again.
Yes, sure.
On the same topic, is there perhaps a time frame that we can look at in terms of when will it start being implemented and so forth? Do we know that it will start in the next 3 months or in the next 6 months or so?
Okay, maybe I would rather give you a reasonable target. The conference has been conducted today, and the conference is going to produce a strategy, a crime detection strategy. But going together with the strategy, it's going to be a quick win action plan, which will respond to things that we need to deal with now and separate those from the future. So given this time frame at which this conference has taken place, I am anticipating that at least by the beginning of the new financial year, the plan for the academy must have been put on the table and the work must have started.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Good afternoon, National Commissioner and your team. My name is Neo Makshiti.
Thank you.
I was just listening to you, but I couldn't sort of like get or grasp the conference resolutions in terms of international cooperation. We know that crime is not just a localized issue, it's a global issue. And sometimes sort of like being imported from outside our shores. Now, how are you going to work with the institutions like the Interpol and other law enforcement internationally to make sure that what you sort of like plan in terms of curbing crime and sort of like making sure that your detections are on par with our strategies?
Okay. Yeah, thanks very much for that question also. Actually, as I'm speaking, I returned from China a day before yesterday, in Thailand. I was in Bangkok. That was part and parcel of the international cooperation on policing, but it was on the safer city model. And one of the core that assists us to coordinate with the external countries. Firstly, you might have seen us in our resolutions, we've touched on the establishment of a modus operandi analysis center. Through this particular center, we intend to conduct continuous modus operandi analysis on a daily basis, 24 hours around the clock. That will help us to know which modus operandi is new to the country. Where does it originate from? If it originates from another country, we will be able to capture it through the modus operandi analysis center. But at the same time, we also have attached a modus operandi counter strategy as part and parcel of providing a response to that. Then we have what we call the binational cooperation agreements, which are inter-country between ourselves as well as the cross-border countries. At that particular level, we've got what we call the SABC police chiefs. I'm actually from South Africa, personally leading the development of the strategy at inter-country level. That particular strategy, actually we have scheduled a strategic plan, is intended to include SADC and AFRIPOL. AFRIPOL is the continental policing approach, and Interpol is also part and parcel of that. we'll be developing a strategic framework for the continent. The same applies. At Bangkok, we've also been requested as South Africa to lead the convening of the Continental Safer City Summit, which will then be talking to cooperation between the countries in the continent. But to be brief on your response to the question, we have inter-country cooperation agreements which are part of this strategy. We then have regional cooperation agreements which are concluded at SADC level. Then we've got continental cooperation agreement at AFRIPOL and international cooperation agreements at Interpol level. We're also linked to the United Nations organization, the UN Habitat. And last, I was in New York on the UN peacekeeping missions. There's also inputs from South Africa, especially on community policing, because at that level we're leading the community policing strategy. Thank you.
Thank you for that, General. I think with that, General, I think
no, we're not done. Sorry. Can we have maybe one of the other people just to enhance the conversation? Lieutenant General Zumani, we spoke to you on Monday when we started this conference, and one of the things that you highlighted was for all the different divisions to find a way to actually enhance their working relationship, to strengthen their working relationship. Can you maybe just give us feedback on that particular point? Because it was one of the things that we really focused on, that working relationship between the detectives, intelligence, and so forth. What have you decided moving forward on that? And then this other question is, we often hear the police saying that a lack of resources and manpower on the ground makes it very difficult for the police to, get to all the corners, and that's where the criminals normally hide. What will be done about that particular aspect?
No, thank you very much, members of the media, colleagues. As we have indicated on Monday, that we'll be meeting, and under the theme that was formulated, that sought also to put together the three divisions. And at the center of these three divisions, you've got the crime intelligence. The crime intelligence that we are not happy that it's not well resourced. Now, not really that they are not doing their work, but the volume of the work that they have to deal with in the country in the moment, or at the moment, is I think, leaves much to be desired. But then you've got forensic services as well as detectives. Hence, we call them crime detection. What we have resolved during the conference is that we need to come up with a working mechanism where we are going to have the systems that will be compatible to each other. The three divisions should be talking to each other, well-coordinated operations to be put together, and then well-executed plans that should be put together and then be executed together between the three divisions. I think that's what we've come up with. We are having resolutions that are very technical in nature and very tactical again. So these are operational issues that we may not want to divulge them that here, but we are satisfied as the leadership of the crime detection at the moment that these are some of the resolutions that we have arrived at. Indeed, we are happy. The issue of the lack of resources, as I said earlier on, yes, we are not satisfied, but we are currently able to make sure that is there anything that we need to do, we are able to do that. We are able to also to be predictive there is a need, and we are able also to make sure that we intercept if there any crime that is being planned, and at the same time we are satisfied that we have arrested in the past criminals that have been evading the law for quite some time. One of them is BB, that you would know that he was arrested in Bloemfontein. And crime intelligence were at the center of the tracking of this person and the arrest of this person.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, maybe I can add.
All right, that's the briefing there by the South African Police Service, of course, post their 3-day conference where they were looking at improving the police service on its own. And of course, the National Police Commissioner General Ketla Sithole there telling us as the media as to how they will go about improving their services.
Yes, indeed. He spoke about reiterating some of the strategies that are in play already, some of the plans that they have, 6-point plan and the turnaround strategy for the police. One of the things that they resolved actually was to establish a crime detection academy to improve policing. And the conference, as you were saying, really the purpose of it was to ensure that proper community engagement, to ensure that satisfactory services are rendered. So the police trying very hard to turn things around a little bit there. And I guess what people are wanting to see is the detail.
Yeah, no, certainly.
Just exactly what's going to be happening.
The issue of
around.
training has been a concern for South Africans for quite a while, so it will be very much interesting to see, Peter, what comes out of that particular academy. General Sithole basically saying that it will be a continuous, sustainable training for all the police officers. So as we say, we'll wait and see what happens.
All right, so that was the SAPS briefing on the resolutions that they adopted over the last 3-day crime detection conference, which started on Monday. And that's where we'll leave it. We'll have more details on that a little bit later on for you. But first,
we're taking a quick ad break. Your business news up next.